In the last video, we took on Aston Villa and only just survived, having to come from 2-0 down to make it 2-2 thanks to Damari Gray coming off the bench and getting a brace. It wasn't our finest moment, and looking at these stats, we probably should have lost, which is not ideal to say the least. It just means that we have still got work to do, even if we can come from 2-0 down to get points. What makes this a little worse is the fact we then took on Wolves, hosting them, and lost 1-0 thanks to a James Tarkowski own goal in the 26th minute of the game to, I think, lose our first home game of the season, which is remarkable when I think out loud about that and say that out loud, because it doesn't feel like it's been our first ever home loss. But while we had the better chances and should have taken them, they ultimately took all 3 points, and Wolverhampton Wanderers have proven themselves to be quite a good team, because Wolves have done the league double with us this year. Still, we went to Tottenham in the next match and dropped points again. At least this time we didn't lose. They took a point with a goal with their only shot on target. In the second half, we were much better. And unfortunately for us, we just couldn't hold on and we couldn't get a second goal. It's a shame because I think we could have done the league double over the Tottenham this year. And I feel like we were the bad team in this match. Sometimes you don't get what you deserve, I suppose. But then we took on Brentford, and we looked good for a bit of time. We were 1-0 down, though, at the beginning of the game. Tony gave the opening goal. Then Calvert-Lewin gets a brace in the first half, before Anthony Gordon gets himself sent off in the 46th minute of the game. And for the majority of the second half, we were struggling a little bit more than I like to admit. So after tinkering a few things with the tactic and having to shift things around, we ended up winning thanks to Andreas Schaldrup 93rd minute winner after Brentford had equalised from a corner. And it tells me that yes, even when we're down to 10 men, we can still score goals. And if we tinker things to how we think we should be tinkering them, we can win matches. It's good to know that despite having a questionable run of form as of late, we're not completely useless and we can still win. And then we completed the league double over Newcastle, Arobi and Holgate both getting goals, Holgate getting his first of the season in this match. Looking at the stats of the match, we were probably the better team, and we deserved all 3 points. Newcastle did have some decent chances to get an equaliser here, though we still managed to get all 3 points, and just do ourselves justice again. It's nice to know we can win against big teams like Newcastle now. And then we took on West Ham and dropped the ball again. Kurt Zouma getting the winning goal with a header from a corner, and we couldn't break them down, which is a bit of a shame since I know we could have done a lot better here. We just didn't do what we could have done, and I know what we can do. We just couldn't break them down, unfortunately, and it was just one of those games where nothing went right, despite our best attempts. Then we went to Leicester, and despite taking the inside 5 minutes, we were 2-1 down at half-time, and I was starting to question what on earth was going wrong. Thankfully, Calvert-Lewin equalised in the 87th minute of the game to get us a share of the spoils, though it felt like it was a bit of a letdown, and we could finally see the XG story for the first time in the video. It was one of those goals that was pretty much a tap-in. It gave me confidence that we can do more. Unfortunately, we couldn't win, but I feel we could definitely do more in the future. We then went to Brighton and picked up a 2-0 victory. It was a game that we definitely were the dominant team. Brighton are struggling to avoid relegation in this save for some reason or another, and we were just quite good in this game. It's nice to know that while we've not had the best of times as of late, we can still cause problems. And after the first couple of minutes of the game, we were the dominant team by some distance if you look at the match momentum chart. It's good to know that despite everything that has been going wrong as of late, we're not bad. We've just been unlucky, potentially. And that once we start picking up some form and picking up the pace again, we'll be fine. Even if Sheldrick did get injured in this game and is pretty much out for the rest of the season. That's a shame. We then hosted Manchester United and drew 0-0. Should I be upset with this result? I don't think I should be, since it looked like we were actually not the bad team here. Even if we had some great momentum at some point, Man United in the second half were pretty much the better team until the latter part of the game. So I feel somewhat fortuitous to have survived this game, but at the end of the day, It's Man United. We did lose to them, and we got 2 points off them this year. So perhaps one could say that this has been a good season against Manchester United here. We then went to Crystal Palace and beat them by a goal to nil. Alex Iwobi scoring the only goal of the game. Anthony Gordon missed a penalty, so it could have been more comfortable than it actually was, even though they did start to come to life in the second half. But a win's a win. We were a better team, and I'll take a win either way. In the last game this season, we were taking on Fulham, and we absolutely battered them all game long. Even when they had chances, we were just a better team, and 33 shots, 11 on target. I don't think we've done this well in a game this season at all. 70% possession. For some reason, another in this match, everything just clicked and we were really, really good. And it makes me very hopeful for the future about what we can do going forward. In the end, though, we finished the league season in second place. And if you told me at the beginning of the year that I could be 13 points clear of 5th place Arsenal and only 5 points away from champions Man City at the beginning of the save, I would have absolutely told you that you were a liar for trying to give me hope that we could even be in the top 4, let alone finishing second place and not far away from the league champions. It's just one of those games where it just feels too good to be true, and I don't know how we've done this well. Season review, though, is here, and yes, understandably, the fans are delighted, the board are delighted with how we've done this year. The new arrivals are here, and Duet Sheldrake was the signing of the season, 7.5 million, 10 goals, 11 assists, not bad at all. Stuart McNeil was not my signing, but he got 17 goals and 9 assists, so he was just as good if anything else. Amadou Onana was quite good as well with 9 goals and 7 assists as well. Gardner with 3 goals and 6 assists was also quite useful. And Victor Nelson, my other main signing, perhaps was a bit of a letdown at 6.69 average rating. I like to think that this was because of the fact that he wasn't used to our system, wasn't used to our style of play, and he was struggling to adapt. But that might just be me trying to think of excuses, really. Neil Maupay wasn't that bad in the end. Though he only started 3 times, he still got 5 goals, and he was quite useful. Tony Lato, who I signed for $825,000 at my first signing of the save, didn't do too badly. Pretty much was a backup player, got 1 assist, but only started twice, so I say that's a successful season for him, really. Solomon Rondon we sold for 2.1 million. He got 13 goals in Russia and wasn't terrible. Michael Keane being sold to Olympiacos. The board were unhappy with the fact we sold him for such a cheap price, but I want his rate off the books, and he wasn't going to get my first team plans. So let's be honest, why would I not sell him? Also, Charlie Whittaker we actually sent down to Burnley, and he played quite a few games for them, though is now out on loan, so oops. But yeah, second place in the Premier League, quite a good year as far as I'm concerned. It's been a successful season. Home attendance, 100%. Given that we got a new stadium, this is not a massive shock to me, and I'm happy to see that we are giving the fans something to be excited about. The start of the season was outstanding. I don't think I can ever replicate how well we did at the beginning of the year. It's just a shame that after the Wolves game, we started to slip a little bit and stumble around. And it was this period of time when we went 3 games without a win. The only time we went 3 games without a win, mind you. It's remarkable to say the least. And given that we twice won 6 games in a row in the league, is still remarkable. And I can't believe we even pulled it off. FA Cup knocked out by Man City. No shocks there. I'm just annoyed that we were forced into a replay by Southampton. Norwich beating us was actually the first defeat of the entire save, and I still can't believe it happened. I'm actually a little annoyed. I don't think it even got promoted. Our biggest win was a 5-0 against Leicester, which makes the fact that we only draw 2-2 against them later on in the season a bit frustrating. The match to remember was apparently the 5-1 victory against Burnley in the League Cup, which is a bit surprising to me. But the goal of the season was Alex Iwobi's 3rd-minute goal against Bournemouth. Shall we see how it was? Alex Iwobi scored this goal to be the goal of the season, and I can see why it goes in, and it's a very good finish to go around so many players and to blindside the goalkeeper. Lovely, lovely stuff. Finances, 44.21 million in sponsorship, 94 million in broadcast revenue, and we got so much money elsewhere as well. It's wonderful stuff. The fact we also made 36.9 million in competition prize money is also useful. Making 2.89 million in merchandise sales is useful, and selling 22,377 shirts is also good. Iwobi, Calvert-Lewin, McNeil, Gordon and Sheldrick were the top shirt sellers, which is awkward because I don't think I can get all 4 of those players in the same team at the same time. If you look at the best 11, Tarkowski and Cody are in there, along with Patterson as the only 3 players not to get a 7.0 rating or more. And the fact we've got so many players doing okay is good. Calvert-Lewin does not even make this list. Iwobi was the fans player of the year. McNeil was the young player of the year. Sheldrick was the signing of the season. Iwobi got the goal of the year. McNeil got the most goals to 17. Anthony Gordon got 12 assists. Iwobi got 6 player of the match awards. And he also got an average rating of 7.3. While Victor Nelson completed the most passes per 90 with 71. McNeil's 17 goals is the record right now, along with Iwobi's 2 goals in 1 match. Gordon has got the most assists with 12. Pickford got 21 clean sheets in the end. McNeil got 6 player of the match awards as a record. Patterson has the worst discipline with 12 yellow cards, but no reds, thankfully, which is good. Idrissa Gueye is the oldest goal scorer at the age of 32 years and 342 days. We also got given the award of the Manager of the Year. This was a superb season for Everton, and we have absolutely surpassed everyone's expectations, especially my own, by challenging for the title. And this is the timeline, dream come true, and the fact that the manager was also a fan of Everton is useful. And we've got quite a few things. A big deal, Sheldrick 2.5 million. A big deal, Victor Nelson 2.7 million. And it even shows you the 3-0 win against Liverpool as a highlight for this. It's really, really good. And the fact we have got so many young talents is good. Pickford again, the golden glove in the Premier League is useful. And it's just really, really good. I'm just happy that we've done this well. So, the supporter profile is this. 2.1 million social media followers now. And we added another 703,000 followers this season because of what we did. In fact, we've got 32,500 season ticket holders and there's 49,500 on the waiting list is selling me a lot. Though the board don't want a lot next year. They still want a mid-table finish and just to be competitive in a Champions League, which I think we can do. They don't want a lot going forward. And as far as I'm concerned, that's very polite of them. We already told you that Begovic is leaving for CSKA Moscow at the end of his current contract, right? But there's also another sale that we've made. James Tarkowski has agreed to leave us for Watford for £14 million. I might have upset this guy a lot because I kept on criticising and fining him for his performances on the pitch. It turns out the centre-back position was one of the weakest areas in the team because of how often my players underperformed there or just weren't getting good ratings. Tarkowski didn't like the fact I kept on fining him and got upset to the point that he wanted to leave. I offered him out. Watford came knocking. £40 million were put down. I said yes, and given that we only signed him for free and he only got a 6.89 average rating, I think this makes sense to me. I'm just a bit shocked that Watford, who are going to the Premier League next year, were willing to put down £14 million for a player that is a 90k a week. Yeah, he was upset with the fact I fined him for a poor performance against Wolves. And as far as I'm concerned, I took that as him saying that he didn't agree with my methods. And now he's gone. Also, 90k off the table. That's really, really useful. So I'm looking at my first team plans and I'm looking at these players coming into the team, and this would be my starting lineup for next year. As we continue on, I will probably make some improvements, and I would not be shocked if we lose some of our players right now. Mykolenko is the only one of these players that's wanted right now. Man City wants him, so we could be losing him anyway. But other than that, we do need some strength and depth in the centre position. Connor Cody, going to be gone. I'm not renewing his loan, even though he's been decent. He's also 30. Yerry Mina, I'm probably going to let his contract run down. I want 120 grand off the wage bill, thank you very much. So all we're going to get is Ben Godfrey and Mason Holgate in the centre position, because James Tarkowski is leaving us for Watford for 14 million. I want him gone. But for the right back, Nathan Weeks, if I was really desperate, could find himself in the first team. Now, admittedly, he is starting to improve quite nicely. I don't think he's anywhere near ready for the first team. The fact he's already worth between 30 to 39 million is ridiculous, but what can you do? Seamus Coleman, I'm letting his contract expire. Another 70 grand off the books. I'm happy with this. Left back, we do have a few issues. We got Lato though, and we're not going to renew Venegri's contract or loan. I don't want to spend £18 million on a guy that I genuinely don't think is worth the money and hasn't been very good. So we might need an extra left back here. In the DM position, we've got Garner, who I am still going to be putting a lot of faith in because he's quite good and has more potential than most players at the team. We also got Drita Garner-Gay, though next year his contract expires. I'm not planning on renewing it. I don't want to be spending 130 grand on a 33-year-old player, even if he has been good this year. Yes, even if he's been really good this year, I generally just don't want to renew a contract for a 33-year-old of that much money. If I could, I'd probably sell him right now. And the same could be said about Decore, £120,000 a week. I don't think he's worth that much. He's leaving into this year. I'm not renewing his contract, so that's another 120 grand off the books for this upcoming season. So with Decore already gone in the centre midfield position, we might need more depth there. A younger talent coming through who has either been on the next gen or has been recommended to me by the backroom staff. I don't know yet. But Gay could probably be here for another year. I have no issue with that. We just need to make sure we have someone else that can come in. Left and right midfield, Anthony Gordon, Dwight McNeil. It's a good pairing to have. Andros Townsend, I'm letting go at the end of this current contract. I don't feel like I want to be keeping this guy around. He's also wanted by Red Bull Salzburg, AZ and Sampdoria on the end of his contract, so I feel like letting him go. Besides, we've got Demarai Gray who could play in both wings anyway. Left wing, simple around that as well. Shelton from Gordon. Anthony Gordon is pretty much the utility backup player now, and I'm really happy about it. Even if he's wanted by Man United and RB Leipzig. Should I sell him? I don't think I want to, though I would not be shocked if I am forced to do so in the future. Up front, we've got plenty of options, I think, at the moment, but we can always improve. Gordon could play up front, as well as Sheldrip, and we've got Neil Maupay, while he hasn't been very good, has been a good backup option that we can bring on for the bench every now and again, and could do a lot of good things. So yes, a few things to work on, a few things to talk about, and what I think I'm going to be doing for next year is just do a season review next year, like one video, something like what's happening in the entire season, what happened in the transfer window and all that stuff, and just go from there. But I don't know, I want to hear your thoughts and opinions on that down below. Either way, what do you think of our first season in charge of Everton? Do you think we can improve on a few things? Do you think some of our signs have been a bust? And do you think we can win a trophy next year? I want to hear your thoughts and opinions on that down below. But either way, until next time, goodbye and well, good night.